What up? What up? What up? It's your man Dame DNYDC, host of the Two Mics Up podcast. Back again with my wonderful co-host, Lisa Middleton. What's happening with you today, sis?
What's up, bruh? Hey, everyone. Hey, listeners. We woke up,
Hey,
so we winning,
we winning
right?
again. Yeah,
We
another day
winning
is another
again.
blessing. All
Yes,
day.
absolutely, absolutely. How you doing?
I'm a little tired. The heat and everything else, man. I'm just not ready for this change in season. We went straight into summer. Like we didn't even get our foot in the pool. We just jumped in the deep end.
Turned the
So
heat on hell.
what? Oh
Heat was
yeah,
on
straight
hell.
hell, straight hell. Struggling though, but here, like you said, we winning, we up, we breathing. Thank the Lord for another day.
Yes.
Um, and with that, today we have um one of our sponsors that's going to be joining us today. Yeah, right,
Woohoo!
exactly. Really excited, looking forward to having this sister on. I think she's really doing a lot of things. I see her in and around. I see her clips, and she's really standing up for something that, on this show and this platform is very important. I think for many of the people in our community, and just even speaking on that before I get into our wonderful guest today, I did mention our sponsors. Want to take a second to actually thank our sponsors, TD3 Insurance and Regina Legette, our Legal Shield Independent Associate. Here two mics up, we always say support small businesses. TD3 Insurance Agency protects and covers all your insurance needs from home, auto, renters, motorcycles, commercial, specialty, and life insurance. TD3 is licensed in DC, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, and New York, and a brand new office here, 3985 Prince William Parkway, Suite 206 in Woodbridge, Virginia. And our sister, Regina Legette, Legal Shield Independent Associate. Do you need legal advice or legal representation? The days of no longer being able to afford or an attorney are long gone. You know, this woman right here, you want to contact Regina Legette at reginalegette.wearelegalshield.com. And the reason why I opened up with that sponsorship is because we have our sister, Regina, joining us today. How are you doing today, sis?
Hi, family. I am good. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Oh, it's really our pleasure, to have you here with us. We've been working on this for a little bit. Uh, Glad that you're on. Introduce yourself and outside of your wonderful ad, and thank you for supporting Two Mics Up. Let us know who's Regina Leggett. Like, tell us who she is.
Well, I am a mother of 5 children. I have 2 daughters that are Marines in the United States Marine Corps. I'm very
Wow.
proud of that. I
Okay.
had
Ooh-ah.
a, yeah, I have a set of twin daughters. They are rising seniors. And I have a 10-year-old son. I'm an educator. I am a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I'm a
Yes.
Toastmaster, and I'm a member of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women. And I am hoping to become somebody else's Legal Shield associate.
All
Okay.
right.
Look here, I gotta applaud
Oh, the
that. Cause
accolades.
okay,
Listen, come through, accolades. Come
okay.
through. Yes.
Well, I
I love it. I love it. Thank you
Yes,
so
well,
much.
yes, that
try.
was beautiful. And Miss Regina, we met online.
We did.
It's so
Hmm.
funny, and the spirits felt kindred, right? It
Hmm.
felt
Yes,
like
yes,
fam, and we kind of connected. So it's always good to put a face, even though I see your stills and stuff. We
Hmm.
Facebook
yes.
friends, but it's so good to put a face behind the woman, the
Yep.
vocal
Right,
woman, I should say.
right. Face
Because
and
we are
names.
both the
Yes.
same in that aspect. So I am glad and pleased to have you on Two Mics Up. But
Thank
Hmm.
before
you.
we get into, the specifics of Legal Shield, um, what made you become a Legal Shield representative?
Well, Miss Wilson, I think it was just my desire to be a change agent. I wanted to educate people on their rights. I wanted to provoke a change just in our community. And it wasn't until my own encounter with injustice that I actually began to see the necessity of LegalShield. And unfortunately, injustice is just not at the hands of law enforcement. It's not always captured on somebody's cell phone. Sometimes it's at the hands of our employer. It's at the hands of our landlords. It's at the hands of our cell phone companies. And with that, I found it necessary to have a service like this. Anytime that you walk in a place and you say, hey, let me speak to your manager, or you want someone to explain why you have these extra charges, that may be a reason why you need LegalShield, because it is definitely the reason that I became an agent. My own experiences provoked me to want to do something to help not only myself, but the community.
Wow.
Wow.
And isn't life funny that way? It'll take you in a direction that you had no idea of until you have those type of experiences.
Yep.
Absolutely. Miss Alyssa, let me tell you, I was one of those people that I felt like as long as I came to work every day, I did my job and I was pretty good at it. I may not get the accolades, but at least it'll keep my supervisor off my back. And it wasn't until, my personal experience, my own encounter, that I found that is just not true. You can do everything right. Sometimes your presence, the way you do things, or how good you are at it comes off as a threat, especially when you're in a industry that's dominated by a culture other than yours. And sometimes culture is not always in the way that we walk, the way we talk, and the way that we look. Is sometimes in our principle. There's some things that I just would not do. And I'm just not gonna go along with it because everybody else is doing it.
Wow.
Yes, absolutely. And as women of color, unfortunately, we find ourselves in those spaces as we navigate through life. So
yes,
kudos to you for that. But educate our listeners about the mission and the values of LegalShield.
Well, let me tell you, our mission is social justice. That is our mission. And the vision, on the other hand, we're just trying to create a better world where justice and security is equal for everybody, regardless of your race, your gender, your orientation, your education, and God forbid, your social status. We live in a world, Sue USA, where you get just as much justice as you can afford. And legal protection is not something that most of us was brought up to know about, to learn about, or even to obtain. We thought that attorneys were for criminals and rich folk. However, attorneys are for everyday situations that you find yourself into. Property line disputes. That's my property. This is his property. Oh, my neighbor has this on the yard. My HOA fees, what's included, my cell phone company's done, has added these extra fees, these hidden charges. So LegalShield is on a mission to provoke social justice. If I feel like if a lot of these companies and people that we deal with know that we had a legal backing, things would be different. Things would be a lot different for us.
Yes.
Well, I couldn't agree
with that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree any more with those exact words, because I mean, when you break it down like that, there's so many different layers and so many different things. It really has to force you to think differently. And this is the reason why I'm glad you're here, to help educate us on how to think differently and to have access to something like LegalShield. And moving on with that, so let's just break it down, like, simply put, how does LegalShield work? If I was new, a new person entering, like, what's the process and how does it work?
Great question. LegalShield is to the justice system what Uber was or is to transportation, what Amazon is to shopping, and what Netflix has done to the film industry. What LegalShield has done was married greed to middle and low income need. We participate in this thing called crowdfunding, where everybody pays a little bit. When you have 4 million people paying $25 a month, you get to call yourself a law firm's biggest client. What happens is you enroll in that membership, you're now a LegalShield client, and you're going to get your free consultations. If nothing else in the world matters, free legal consultation should be at the top of everybody's list. We contract with the hottest law firms only. They vie for contracts to be with LegalShield. We don't have to go looking for people. And let me tell you, if your biggest client was a $1 billion client and they send a guest, you're going to give them the royal treatment, right? If you knew that, your $1 million guest was sending someone over to your house for dinner to ask questions, you're going to bring out the best china. You're going to make sure that house is clean and in order. And that's what LegalShield does for our clients. So what we do, crowdfunding, you pay your $24.95 a month, and you're enrolled in the membership. You get to call up that lawyer. You use your app, and you let that lawyer decide what's the best thing for you to do. You don't have to gather around the kitchen table and call your friends and, talk to what I like to call these Facebook lawyers, because everybody on Facebook has a law degree. So that's LegalShield.
That's
it's amazing to me, listening with that, so because you're getting the best,
Yes.
What are some of the services then, or are there programs or different services, or like is it all encompassing? Like it could be anything, because you talked about a lot of different things. But is it, can you give a little more details like to some of the other services?
Oh, absolutely. So first, let me say that there's certain things, as if with any membership, you're going to get for free. And there are certain things that doesn't come with the membership, but so you'd have to pay a little bit more. So think about if you had a membership at a Planet Fitness or a Gold's Gym. So you get to use all the equipment and all this other stuff for free. But if you wanted to do a Zumba class, you might have to pay $5 more.
Okay.
So there are certain things that are free. If you are driving and you get a speeding ticket and you are registered, you're licensed, and you're sober, you're going to submit that ticket through your app, through your LegalShield home law firm, and they're going to take care of that. They usually try to settle it for something that will not affect your points and your insurance. So maybe something like a parking ticket, but that's between that lawyer and that prosecutor. So we do things like will preparation. That is included in your $24.95 a month. A lot of us do not have wills because we don't think we have anything that people will fight over. You can die tomorrow and somebody will fight about the bed that you slept in. Grandma wanted me to have this. We had a close relationship. We reconciled. So you get will preparation. You get document review. I can't tell you how many times now I will tell people, if it's more than 3 pages, I'm going to have my attorney look it over. Not because I don't trust you. I just like saying it. I just like being able to have that kind of empowerment to say that I'm protected.
Right.
There are things, uncontested divorce, name change, any change in birth certificates or obtaining any of that things. Those things are free after a 90-day waiting period. Some of us have been waiting 6 years for a divorce. Okay.
Wow. I was going to say, yeah, some people wait for a long time. Wow.
And let me tell you, when two divorce attorneys get a case, the first thing they say is let the games begin, because your bill is going to come up. And at the end of the day, the divorce will be uncontested, because at some point in time, you're going to sign on that dotted line. So why not get an attorney, to help you through an uncontested divorce, help you go over through some of that paperwork, today we always see people getting stopped on, TV, and it ends into an unwarranted shooting. Well, LegalShield has, emergency services. These after 20, let's say you find yourself in a situation where maybe you're getting arrested, you're being questioned, or even detained. Well, if you're a LegalShield client, you have the right to one of these, and you have the right to tell that officer, hey, if it is your intent to question, and understand, to question,
Mm-hmm.
detain, or arrest me, please allow me to call my lawyer immediately.
Mm.
Now, see, I just feel like when you say lawyer to certain people, especially the police being one of them, they have to take that seriously. They
Right.
they never know who they are arresting, right?
Right. Right.
So the thing about it is, the first thing it says, if it is your intent to question me.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I'm not looking for a reason not to comply. I'm looking for a reason not to die.
Oh.
I'm looking
Uh-huh.
for a reason, because sometimes we think that we're cooperating and
Mm-hmm.
what we're doing is incriminating.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
so we have got to know that, police are there to protect and serve. However, they are serving other purposes too. And I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying all of them. I would never say that all police are bad, but I will say that because of what we've seen, that
Yeah.
the trust is broken.
Broken. Yeah.
And until it is restored, and even when it is restored, why wouldn't you want to be able to legally say, to have that
Mm-hmm.
legal backing, that legal representation, because if they don't, it doesn't matter what happens after that. They've already violated your rights. We got to stop pretending we know our rights
Yeah.
and get with the people that knows our rights and can enforce those rights, because you don't have rights if you don't know them, and you don't
Mm.
have rights that you don't enforce.
Mm.
So that's another service, that they provide. If you are already a part of a case, they help out with, cases on a contingency basis, or cases that you've already been a part of, and maybe you want them to take over.
Mm-hmm.
We have small business plans. My best friend started a business, and she got in a situation where, you try to get somebody to help you, and, end up with a C&D on your
Right.
door.
Right.
So we have, for home businesses, small businesses, we have plans for CDL, the truck drivers and things like that. We have protection for everybody.
Wow.
Everybody needs this service. It's right up there with your insurance. I know that we all probably spend $25 a month on Netflix, or
Nothing.
Wait,
something.
I was gonna say something that's
Listen,
nothing.
it's nothing, because sometimes you look and you be like, where did I spend this at? What did I do?
Look.
So $25
Look.
in today's day and age. I don't want to be classist, because I
Mm-hmm.
know $25 for someone else, but $25 is if it's a sacrifice, it's well worth it. If
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean. And if it's not, if you one like me that can blow $25 in 2 minutes,
Yes.
Well,
on nothing, like
and
absolutely
it's
nothing,
not a class thing though. At least
it
you hit it
is.
on the head.
Yeah.
Because people do it. I mean, you find yourself during the week, in a month. If you just break it down on a weekly basis, I'm almost. I don't care who you are, where you are. You found $5 to $10 that you wasted on something, whether it be fast food, junk, whether it be a movie, Netflix, whatever it is. You've wasted it. So if you took that $5 or $10 every week, I mean, you're talking about your $25, $50 a month. So it's about reconfiguring how we think.
Right.
And and like Regina is saying, arm yourself with people who know the law, not us sitting around the table talking about what we think we know about the law.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
What we've been through with the
Right.
law.
Right. Go ahead and get that person that can represent you,
Because
or have really. This is an industry, really. You
Yeah.
got an industry and your own army behind you.
Yeah,
With Legal
absolutely.
Shield. Yeah, that's awesome.
If this is less than $1 a day,
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about $24.95 a month, and we're not talking about one lawyer. We're talking about a network. One of the
Right.
things that bothers me is, when I'm doing presentations, people say, "Well, I have a lawyer." Well, you have one lawyer in one area of law, or maybe even two or three, but
Right.
we have a lawyer in every state, in every area of law.
Mm.
And then people come with, "Oh, well, we have an attorney in the family." Well, on behalf of that attorney in the family, they want you to get this service,
Right.
because they are probably inundated with family calling for this, and their job wanting them to do that. So for
Mm-hmm.
us, it is, no matter the area of law, you will call in, you go through intake. That is the only time you will ever speak to an operator. They basically, what they're trying to do is figure out which attorney, which area of law they're going to direct you to. When
Mm-hmm.
someone calls you back, it won't be a paralegal, it won't be a legal assistant, it will be attorney, because by contract, because we are their biggest client. There are certain stipulations, when you're like Walmart, you got purchasing power.
Right.
You can kind of
Right.
make your own rules. One of the rules are call them back in 4 hours. You can go book a consultation right now today. You can pay an attorney $300, and I bet you that consultation won't be till sometime next week. It
Mm.
won't. It won't be in
Try
4 hours.
2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. Legal Shield, 4 hours. You need to call them back in 4 hours, right?
Wow.
They don't want to lose, the contracts. Most attorneys, if you ask, most of them, they get their money from consultation. And sometimes we don't like what we hear. We don't know if what we heard is true. You want
Right.
a second opinion. Well,
Right.
out there, you're going to have to pay for it. But you come into the Legal Shield family, we'll give you how many you need.
Wow.
Unlimited.
Wow.
Unlimited.
That's
Wow.
If
awesome.
you were in Georgia, you live in Virginia, but you got a ticket in the state of Georgia, guess what? Your home law firm is going to refer you to that law firm who's also in the Legal Shield network. They're going to refer you to that law firm, and they're going to take care of it. No more
Wow.
going back to Georgia, going back to the county, or trying to go to court to get it reduced and things like that. The courtroom only belongs to lawyers, judges, and bailiffs.
Hmm. Wow. So that's you got a full network. That's a whole army. That's a whole
It's an
team.
army.
You
Absolutely.
can't go wrong with that. So, before we get into the next segment, I want to go ahead and take another second to highlight a couple of our other sponsors. Our friends over at Next Level Keys and Riddick Entertainment. As we always say here, two mics up. We like to support small businesses. Next Level Keys is a full service credit repair firm that renders optimum services to their customers in all facets and walks of life. At Next Level Keys, the goal is to get you to the next level. Visit my friend Quan over at Next Level Keys at support at nextlevelkeys.com. That's all one word. They're really doing great work here in the DMV area. And our friends over at Riddick Entertainment, Riddick Entertainment is a multifaceted event management firm based in Northern Virginia. Riddick Entertainment's detailed creativity and precision event planning will give you a truly meaningful and memorable experience. Contact our friends at Riddick Entertainment at info@riddickent.com. And we're back today, ladies and gentlemen, with one of our sponsors, Regina Legette of Legal Shield. She's an independent Legal Shield associate. And, I'm going to go ahead and let Lisa, because I know Lisa had a few more questions ready for you coming out the break. So, Lisa, go right ahead.
Yeah, I was so intrigued by the conversation, Regina. So before I get to my next question, I have one of is this just like an all inclusive, all around, one stop shop for all? Is it safe to say all legal matters?
All legal matters.
Mm.
There's not an area of law that is not covered. There are areas of law that are not talked about, like immigration. Like I want to get something expunged, from my record. Sometimes we are savvy enough to do the paperwork by ourselves, but
Mm-hmm.
the law is complicated. That's why now you have to go to law school, you have to pass the bar, you have to do things like that. There are nuances and provisions in the law that common folk like myself would not know. So if I wanted to have something expunged, or if I wanted to look into a name change, I would rather get the advice, know that I'm going about it the right way. It's kind of like waiting in line and you get all the way up to the front and you realize that you're in the wrong line. That's what happens with court documents and procedures. And some lawyers used to play those games back in the day with filing and dates and the wrong paperwork. Today, that stuff will get you in trouble. They don't care if you're pro se, where you're representing yourself. Since
Right.
I've had Legal Shield services, I've represented myself in family court, saved $3,600 because I had somebody to say, that's not the paperwork. You need to fill this paperwork out, this paperwork out.
Wow.
So imagine having that access in every area of law. Sometimes we just want to know our options. We want to know our rights. Sometimes I just want to know if the other person had the right to do
The
that,
dude was like, right.
Right,
or
Right.
what can
right,
they do?
Right.
And,
right.
and understand that judges and courtrooms are different. So just because grandma had that experience or Uncle Joe had that experience
Don't mean that
will
you will.
not, right, don't mean that that's going to be your outcome.
Right.
So I would rather talk to a legal professional, a lawyer, a licensed lawyer that has been in the courtroom recently and knows his way around the courtroom and the mentality of a judge, and will say what will or will not happen and can say it with confidence, and is no such thing as a 30-minute consultation, right? You talk as long as you need to talk. You submit documents for review. They have a certain amount of days to get back to you. 3 days, you pay for a consultation with an outside attorney and call yourself submitting some
Yeah.
documents. They're
Yeah.
going to charge you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honey,
They're
That's a
going
honey.
whole that's a
to,
whole
yeah,
nother conversation. That's a
right.
whole
It's
nother.
a whole, they're going to charge you. They're going to send you an invoice. Here, you ever receive something? We've all been there. You've received something from the court. We all know that summons when we see it. Or you receive something in the mail that you just don't know of. And instead of passing it around and everybody know your business, what about pass it through that app? You can snap a picture of it. You can get an intake number and upload it from your laptop, your desktop, and let a lawyer look over it and let them go through it with a fine-tooth comb, right? See, some lawyers are there to protect their interests and their business, and sometimes the other person.
Right.
These lawyers are there to retain our business. They want to keep it, right? So they're going to try to work hard to make you happy. They're going to try to, they're not going to tell you anything that's illegal. And let's face it. Sometimes we're going to hear things that we don't want to hear when it comes to, but at least you know that here I'm paying into this crowdfunding model. I'm paying into a network of law firms, and if I don't like this, I can get another consultation. I know that it is not just they taking my money and running. So you don't go into it feeling, robbed. I'm telling you, when I pay for a consultation, I've never felt like it was worth 3, 4. I've never felt that way. Oh, that was a good consultation.
Right.
I'm glad I spent the $500.
Right.
I don't feel like that. I feel like, well, dang, I don't know if that was really $500. I didn't get my money worth, and that was just what Uncle Joe said.
And I still don't understand, right? You still leave there like,
right.
Well, I need more, and that's the purpose, I guess. If you're trying to make money, is to leave you with that feeling, so you know that you need to retain that person.
I don't mean to cut you here. I just want to, because there was something that I heard in that, your consultation and having a lawyer. So let's just, because there are times where we as people, for whatever reason, whether it be your doctor, therapist, whoever it may be, sometimes you don't just jive with that person. Right. So like you have your consultation and, they assign you an attorney or whatever. And do you speak to that one? I would ask you, like, are you speaking once you have that? Are you able to speak, to that attorney back and forth on the case? And if things are not jiving or not vibing with you with that person, are you then able to ask to be placed with another attorney in the network?
Yeah, you're doing one even better. So I'll tell you about a personal experience that I had before I became a member. Before I became an associate. I called, and it was my the provider law firm referred me to this other law firm in Georgia, and I felt rushed. I felt like I paid $25. I felt like, well, I must be, the low income. We must be flagged or something. And so the guy that enrolled me, I let him know. I'm like, listen, like, is this what it's gonna be? I didn't feel like that with my home law firm. And he said, you know what? I'm glad you told me. Please do me a favor. Go online and fill out. It's like a member. It's a member form where you basically you feel like you had a bad experience. So I filled out the form, and I got 4 calls.
Oh wow!
From LegalShield, from my provider law firm, from the law firm that actually and 2 from the law firm that actually I felt like, I don't know if I felt rushed, 2 from them. And this is what I found out when I became an associate. Every time that things, they get a referral, every time they give a consultation, they earn so many points based on what the feedback is.
Mhm.
You know, you do a survey, you do a customer service survey. In order to keep the contracts, they have to have so many points, right? So
Mhm.
when I became an associate, I was like, oh, that's why they went above and beyond.
Beyond. Yep.
You know, the lawyer, one of the senior lawyers called me and said, you know, I'm so sorry. You know, I don't know why she said that or what happened to make you feel that way. We want to make it better. I'm going to give you another consultation. My home law firm gave me a different referral, you know, because listen, they didn't want any parts of that. You
Right.
know,
Right.
nobody want to be a part of no mess. They want to keep their contract. And so the way that they corrected it, and when I became an associate, I understood why, because you go through the trainings where you understand how we only work with the hottest law firms. We only
Mhm.
work with, you have to be in the business, in the game for so long, you know.
Mhm.
You have to be have the resources to have someone call back in 4 hours. But most importantly, you got to have social skills. You got to have
Yeah.
people skills.
Yeah.
You got to talk to people like that. You're my only client.
Right.
And if I don't do anything else right today, I got to make you happy. So if you're not happy, fill out that form. You're going to get better service than you get at Chick-fil-A. I
Okay.
promise.
Okay.
I promise.
Hey.
And
Now,
that's
I
what
love
we
me some
want.
service at
right.
Chick-fil-A
Right. Right.
now.
That's what I'm saying. And that's
And
what
that's
I want to know. You know, because I mean, like you say, you shouldn't feel like you. I like how you say. You know, you shouldn't feel like you paying $25, and I'm the low end service, or you know, I'm
right.
the handout. You want, and I just wanted to know for those who may be curious or even interested, because that would be me.
That was a
I'm
good
a very
question.
I'm a vibe person.
Right.
You know, if with the vibe don't feel right,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna mess with
Right.
it. You know, but I want to be able to have options. So thank you for
Right.
sharing that with us.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's the way we want people to feel, because here, we can't be out here marketing this service and then our people feel like, you know, we are getting as much legal help as we
Hmm.
paying for
Right,
now. We
right,
can't do that. And I can say, um, they love to ask, you know, is there anything else I can do? How, you know, do you have any other questions? Well, make sure
right,
you call back if you have any other questions. My name is so and so. You
right.
don't have people giving you their names
Hmm.
if there's not some
Right.
kind of motive behind it. You
Motive.
know,
Yep.
sometimes when people tell you their name, you can tell they don't care because I'm the manager. Yeah, that's my
You,
name.
right,
Other
right.
times, okay, when I know you're going to do that survey, this is my name. Make sure,
Hmm.
you know, because
Right.
they want to keep our business. Again, you know, we are a multi-million-dollar customer, right? We're their biggest client. They don't have to do consults and things like that anymore. They don't have to open their businesses for things like that. You know, can you imagine being an attorney and never having to go out and, you know, solicit
Hmm.
clients, you know,
Mm.
to have the biggest one?
Right.
We write a check to them every
Right.
Wow.
month, regardless of if our members call or not. Me, I get my money's worth.
Oh, that's right. I know
Yes,
I
that's
know.
right. I know
Mm,
that's
mm.
right.
yes, and we
Listen.
got to.
I'm sorry, Regina. Go ahead.
You know, and we have to. You know, I even put my children on my plan, because I have millennials. They were raised by me, but
Hmm.
were not raised like me, and I
They
probably
Right.
different.
shading myself.
Different.
You
It's
know,
different.
I was taught, you know, to respect authority, you know, whether it be the police officer or the teacher or whoever else. You know, the kids today are taught something very differently. And you know, it's really something to be proud of, but it's something that also scares me,
Yeah.
because they're not dealing with the police officers that you and I dealt with growing up. They're dealing with different types that can
Right.
perceive them as a threat. You know,
Right.
so I tell my, you know, my children, they are a part of my plan. You get stopped, that's the first thing you say, you know.
Hmm.
I don't teach them to be disrespectful or, you know, non-compliant. And I don't have those type of children that will, and I hope the teacher's not listening like, oh yes, you do. that you know, that would get in a situation like that and act the fool. But I do have a child that will probably say, call my mom, no, you know, who's
Right.
traumatized and
Right.
may overreact. And the police officer, oh, she must be on something, or she's trying
Right.
to speed away. No, she's just nervous. She's
Hmm.
not been in a situation and she's traumatized. So, you know, it's something that I feel like you know, we owe it to ourselves. You know, it's our duty
Agreed.
not to just to protect our voting rights and our speaking rights, but our civil rights, our
Agreed.
basic rights, our human rights.
Agreed. Couldn't agree with you more on that.
Absolutely. And
Mm-hmm.
I agree with the millennial and the Gen Z statement, because I think that they have more questions than we
Yeah.
do, right?
Yeah.
So when they're more challenging, they want to know why. And we were taught, like, you do as you're told, and
Yep.
that's it.
That's it.
You respect your elders, you don't question these things. And they are more like, no, we're breaking that generational cycle of
Mm-hmm.
compliant with anything, because they're not into doing things that we did that
Right,
they deem as toxic, right?
Yep.
right,
Because
Yep.
right.
I'm learning too. You know what I'm saying? I
No,
have
we're
my
never too
ear.
old. Never
Yeah,
too old to
I have
learn.
my ear to the Gen Zs
Mm-hmm.
and the and the millennials, and when the conversation is always so intriguing and it's always so teachable, I always learn something, because not everything we did was correct.
Right.
Absolutely,
Right.
I had to
Absolutely.
absolutely.
question those things. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I do understand that, because I definitely would have my child on that plan as
You
well,
understand?
Right.
because they
You
don't.
understand?
They, not that he would disrespect authority, but they just different. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they
Right.
just very different.
There's an art and science to, you know, civil rights and speaking up, and our children, we really taught them to be that way. We
Yeah.
taught them not to just go along with stuff,
Yep.
but what we didn't teach, or what they didn't get, is the how, and the time and place.
Yeah.
But if you
The
think
timing.
about
The
it,
timing is off. But
it's
they working on. The
all off.
timing is off, but they working on it. They
But if
work.
you if you think about civil rights movements, when Martin Luther King and
They were
and Malcolm
young.
X, right, and they also questioned
Yeah.
authority and
Yep.
Yeah.
things like that, right? So what we have are these young people that are about to be a part, or really are a part of this new civil rights movement,
Movement. Mm-hmm.
where Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, that generation got us to a certain place, and the torch is being passed, and
Mm-hmm.
now these children are saying, basically, this is not enough.
Yep. No
and
man. No. No
and
man. Pam. They.
No.
right, and
No.
and
Mm.
now that we've gotten this, now that they are burning, they built these bridges. Now we're crossing them. We're not
Yep.
just building bridges to create
Yep.
relationships.
No, they
We're
crossing
building
over.
bridges to get
The
to the
other
other
side.
side, to see what you got going on over
Mm-hmm.
here. And that's what this new generation is doing.
I love.
And I think that we have to guide them, and we have to show them how. We can't just say hush and shut up, and it's
No.
disrespectful, because it has to be taught.
Mm-hmm.
So
We
I
have to
believe
lead the
in
way.
learning. Well, Dave knows I am a champion.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned so much from, because that's a whole nother show. We could go on
Yeah.
about that.
Look.
But I've learned so much from the younger generation, and I am not one to say, oh, don't do this, or don't. I always engage, because I think that they are some of the brightest minds, and
Mm-hmm.
their thinking has actually changed my thinking,
absolutely.
Agreed.
and the way that I have to unlearn some
Mm-hmm.
things,
Yep.
that I'm like, you know what? Because when it makes sense, it just makes sense, right?
Right.
Right.
But there's a lot of people that don't agree with them in the way that they do things and this and that. But listen, a lot of people didn't agree with us either when we were
Right.
coming up, in the way that we did things. So, you know, that's a
Right.
whole nother, like I said, we could go into that. That's
Right.
a
We
whole
we
nother
we
show.
go. That's a whole nother topic
But
all day. Yep.
Well, we need to get some of them to join LegalShield. Can you imagine what the young generation could do with something like this?
oh my
Woo.
goodness.
Well, that's why we're having this conversation
Yes.
today. I'm hoping that some of our younger brothers and sisters out here, that are in a position to go ahead and educate themselves on legal shield and take advantage of,
Yes.
and hopefully become a part of. And these are the things, like, we talk about, these, we want our younger generation to see that, at least they hear me say it all the time, we're more than athletes, we're more than rappers and things of that nature. And there are things out here that we need to be getting involved with to make change. You can't stand outside the wheel or outside the system.
Right.
It's just going to run over you. You
Right.
make change by becoming a part of the problem and fixing the problem from within. And
Yep.
I think this is one of those instances with LegalShield that again people of color can
Yeah,
become a part of, take part of,
absolutely.
and use it to mold and correct our situations.
Oh, absolutely. I
Mhm.
definitely think that they could really take the bull by the horns. My daughter has also become a Legal Shield independent agent.
Oh, awesome.
And so I'm proud of her
Hmm.
for doing that and getting involved. But it teaches, our kids some of the social skills
Hmm.
and people skills that and business skills that they need.
Yeah.
What better way to champion something that you believe in and push a product out there that can empower
Yes.
communities to come,
Yes.
Right,
Agreed.
right.
Agreed.
Because we don't want to wait, right, until it's too late. And
Yeah,
now we have the family is passing around the pot, the hat to
yeah.
collect, but you're already in something. It doesn't have to
Right.
be criminal, but it could be, tax law or you're in a tax
Oh,
problem.
absolutely.
Because that's one of the most biggest ones too.
Yep.
You
Yep.
have, you're starting a venture, you don't understand
Right.
the
Hmm.
paperwork because
Yep.
I am one for having someone review documents
All
because
Yes.
day.
I am very particular about what I
Hmm.
put my name on because I've been in a situation unprotected
Yes.
and did not really totally understand because it's not that you are you don't understand the language the English or you don't know how
Hmm.
to
Right.
read or comprehend. Sometimes in these documents the language is
Oh,
above
Exactly.
you, right?
oh
Right.
no,
The
but it's written that
language
way
is
on
above
purpose too, though.
because you didn't
Right.
go to law school or you
Hmm.
didn't go to you're not a tax attorney or you're not something, so the
Absolutely.
language and the jargon is above you. And
Hmm.
then you have someone who has bad intentions interpreting a paper
Okay.
for you
Okay.
and you sign, and then when
Hmm.
you really find out, like, listen, that's not what you told me. It doesn't matter
Right.
what I just told you. You signed
You
an
signed it.
agreement
Right.
Right.
legally that
Hmm.
you're in agreement with what we have going on when actuality is some kind of other thing. And I've been in that situation before. So just having that service alone for me is
Right.
enough
It's
because
worth it. It's worth it.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely. And if anybody knows, the problem with the law is that a lot of it is written in Old English,
Hmm.
and it uses a lot of Latin phrases,
Yep.
right? So you remember when the Roman Catholic priests were selling indulgences, they're interpreting
Hmm.
the Bible for people, and people are actually thinking that, hey, they're trying to do something good. Well, no, a lot of contracts understand they're self-serving
Yep.
on both ends,
Yep.
right? So we're entering into business contracts, we got to pay attention to the if, then, but, and scenarios.
Hmm.
We need to,
whereas, wherefore,
Hmm.
right,
wherefore thin,
but
whereas.
not limited to,
Right.
so we have to you have to be careful. And even with our core plan, the Legal Shield plan, you're going to get document review. Now what I like about our business plan is that it helps business protect, grow, and expand,
Mm.
by helping them through some of the red tape. I don't know about y'all, but I hate to call Verizon or anybody else because I don't want to press one. I don't want to say Regina, and I don't want
Right.
to have to hang up. And then you finally get through all of that, and it says you're the 10th caller in line.
Right.
Your call will be
Right.
returned, or press
Yeah.
one to get a call back. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, so that's what you don't have to do with Legal Shield. For somebody to not have a dog in the fight, to be a neutral party and say, well, not really neutral, to be on your side and say, hey, this means this. This can be
Hmm.
interpreted as this way. The law is complicated,
Right.
right? Because it was not written for everybody. It was not written by
Right.
everybody.
Hmm.
It was not.
Hmm.
That was not the case of it. If you look at it, most laws were written to restrict or
Yep.
to stop something.
Yep.
Then you have these other laws to come back to counter laws that were written previously. And judges look at cases that became before this case, and a lot of things are subjective and they're circumstantial. So especially when you're starting a business,
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to be your own lawyer, right? When you want a place where you
Look,
can go
you don't want to. Mm-mm.
upload those documents,
Mm-mm.
get that legal representation, and then with our business plan, you get so many hours for free. But we all know that sometimes the talk of a lawyer, the sight of receiving a letter from an attorney is enough to stop people,
Okay.
with these hidden fees, because it takes more for them to have their lawyers review it than it does to just give you whatever that credit
Mm-hmm.
is. So
Yeah,
Facts.
yeah, that's true.
Facts on that.
Yeah, Regina. So, as an independent associate, how are you working to make a impact in our community with Legal Shield?
So just trying to get the word out, just trying to tell people that, this is a service that we all need. A lot of the things that we complain about is not just everyday life. This is legal life. This is a legal issue. This is something that you need to have an attorney look over,
Mm.
especially with, traffic stops with our young boys. I have a 10-year-old king, and, I'm telling you, I'm fearful of the day that he starts to drive. I'm fearful
Mm.
because my son is 10 and he's already five something. So,
Mm.
but he's a teddy bear. But when he's with his classmates, he towers over everybody.
Mm.
So, what I try to do is try to get in front of people and do presentations. I try to practice what I preach. I'm a Legal Shield member. I'm an ID Shield member. ID Shield, identity theft is the fastest white collar crime. It's the
Mm-hmm.
fastest growing white collar crime. So this is my business. I have a home business supplement. So what I'm doing is practicing what I preach. It's hard for me to go out and say, hey, you should do this, you should do this, when I'm not doing it
Right.
myself. I take
Right.
Right.
advantage of the member perks. But the biggest thing that I'd like to do is have more people become members, have
Mm-hmm.
more people invite me out to social events, to do a presentation, to get the word out. I really feel like, when we're part of organizations that are supposed to advance people or that are
Right.
supposed to help us retain our rights or get more
Yes.
rights, these are services that we should be putting in front of our
Yes.
small business owners, our teachers, our independent our contractors, our members of our organizations. I feel like these are the services that, we should get out
Gotten to the
get out
forefront.
there,
Yeah.
especially places like the NAACP. A lot of those people come because they're facing a legal issue. They
Mm.
think it's a social issue, but it's a battle that has to go to the courtroom, not
Yes.
just
Mm-hmm.
public opinion.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think places like the NAACP would it would be an honor to go, to help to present for them, to get a group of people, to find a venue or anything else like that. The best thing that I can do for the community is to be an example and is to continue to get the word out there.
Mm.
Very
Well
good.
said on that. Well
Yes.
said on that.
So, what
Mm.
advice would you give to someone who may be interested in becoming an independent associate as well?
Oh, please call me. My number is 571-287-0502. Or go to my website. It is reginalegette.wearelegalshield.com. So, it is such an so it's been such a journey, but it's been so empowering to make people feel secure and safe, and to have services that they just didn't think that they could afford. Everybody needs a will, but it's something, unfortunately, that people don't think of until they get older. But I just encourage anybody that wants to get involved to reach out to me. Go to my website, call me, and I'm available. It is one of the best things that you can do for yourself, your career, and for the community.
Yeah.
Mm.
That
Wow.
will thing, that is, I don't know why we as a people jump clean over that part.
Mm-hmm.
We think that we don't have um assets, right? So
Oh,
we just
yes.
we just do the insurance policy, right? If we're lucky, if some of us are lucky enough to do that. But then your wishes, regardless of what it is or how small it is. It is very important to allocate will service. It is very, very important. And we don't want to wait to the day that our loved one goes home
Right.
and we're sitting around and now you're wondering, or this one is bickering, or this one is fighting, or this is happening. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I've been in this situation and I'm just looking like, this is insane.
It
Like,
It
is.
so
It
is.
is.
because you leave it at the will of others. If you
Yep.
don't
Right.
say, this is what I want, and sometimes grief take people over and they just want a part of you and they don't care who they have to run over to get it or whatever the case
Right.
may be. And that
Yeah.
situation we got to stop
We do.
that.
Agreed.
To not have a will is really a selfish act. And I know we don't look at it that way, but you understand the burden and pressure that you put on your family members when we're already grieving a death.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And then to have to, in the midst of grieving a death, to decide how we're going to divide or get rid of property. Some people want to hold on to things. Some people, I want it gone because I don't, it's my way of moving on. You know, well, grandma wouldn't want us to throw it away. Well, I need to move on from it. And if I don't move on from it, then, you know, I won't get over it. But it is one less thing that families would have to argue and,
Yeah.
you know, decide
Decide last minute and
in the
fight over.
midst of hurting and grieving. And it really
Mm-hmm.
can keep people from being there. You
Yeah.
know, that's the first two questions that people ask when somebody died. Did they have insurance? Did they have a
Mm-hmm.
will?
Yep.
You know, so tell people if you want to be cremated. Tell people if you want to be buried, where you want to
The
be
way you want to be
buried.
buried,
You
all the
know,
particulars. Yep.
just pick out your you know your headstones and things like that. See, LegalShield gives you the questionnaire, so you don't have to just start out. Oh well, how do I do it? You know, you fill out the questionnaire. You know, they walk you through it. They help you through it. This process, a will can cost anywhere on the very low end, 800 all the way up to $1,500.
Mm-hmm.
It is included in your LegalShield plan, and this is for your spouse and your dependents. So
Wow.
one plan is going to cover a family.
Wow.
You can't beat that. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you're not going to get it anywhere else. Just for the free services alone, you get help with the IRS. You know, if you are having problems with your taxes, is it better to call, you know, your tax accountant or your tax lawyer?
Right.
You know,
Right.
well, one of them comes with my plan, and again, they come with a network, so it is not just one person. See, they can talk to other people in the firm.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think that we don't give enough attention to wills and take the time to do them like we should.
Mm. Well, that was all encompassing because that answered really the question that I was going to ask. I don't even think we have to ask now. I mean, for me, listening and of those of you who sat down and listened or watched this conversation today, it's worth it. It's not even a question of because you probably get it a lot of times. Oh, it's not really worth it. But if you really sat here and you spent the last 45, 50 minutes in this conversation, I walk away, 24.95 a
Yeah,
month. It covers your family, you know, and it covers just about any legal problem
absolutely.
that you may come across. God, and we don't want you to come across it, but God forbid if you do,
But
you
Right,
have a
if
full
you
army
live
and
in
a full network.
life,
Right. You
right,
have a full
if
network,
you live in life,
you
you
know,
don't know
right,
what's to happen.
right. And you don't know what's going
right,
to happen. So
right.
I'm glad to hear that is the case. And, really before we go and close out today, Regina, two things. Please, what's next for you? What do you have on your plate? And where can our audience and our listeners find you or reach you? Your social media. Please share with everybody again before we close out this wonderful episode.
Well, what's next for me is to continue to promote and try to get more presentations to try to get the word out there. And just to throw out there, Legal Shield also helps when you find yourself on the wrong end of the law. You know,
Mm.
maybe, you know, you had a little something something in the glove compartment. You know, it didn't
Mm-hmm.
belong to you, but it was in your car. You know,
Right.
you know.
Right. Right.
So maybe the bottle was in the back seat. So it is, you don't have to come into this squeaky clean, right?
Right.
You know, what you have to come into it with, you know, your payment ready
Mm-hmm.
with a membership,
Right.
and you know, let the lawyers work for you. And you guys can find me at on Facebook. I have a group, it's called Justice for All. We try to post things in there about the membership for those that are still trying to learn and trying to decide if they want to become, you know, a part of the Legal Shield family. So find me at Facebook on Justice for All. You can call me. My cell number is 571-287-0502. But I know some people just kind of want to take a look. So just go to my website. It's Regina Legette dot we are legal shield at wearelegalshield.com. All right, so go there, explore, take a look. You know, there's a lot to choose from in there, and it's not something that you would regret. It would be the best $25 that you spent.
Mm. I love it. You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. You know, straight from our sponsor's mouth. Check her out. You know, and like she said, what I love, you know, and what I would hope those listening, you know, please reach out to Regina, work through Regina, so that she can help you maybe get into the network and get you to where you need to go. And that's really what this episode is really all about. Again, educating our community. You know,
Yes.
thank you, Regina, for taking your time, you know, taking some time out today to sit here with Lisa and I. It's been amazing. It's been our pleasure to again, finally, you and I spoke before, but now to have
Yes.
you on the platform, the kinetic
Yes.
energy, and I hope everybody enjoyed it. Lisa, you have anything to say or you want to share before we close out today, sis?
I and you know, I just think it was a very informative episode. So of course I'm just, very glad to have had Regina here today. That was a lot of information. It was
Yeah,
very clear. It was to the point, and why not at this point?
right.
You
Why
know what
not?
I'm saying? Because you
Yeah.
don't want to be in
Yeah.
a situation where, you
Nope.
know, it's too not too late, but it could have been kind of avoided. So we
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
need to, as a people, I think that as we start turning these corners, we need to start being a little bit more proactive.
Yep.
And
Yes.
stop being so reactive. And that way we're prepared. Because once you're covered, legally, especially legally,
Yep.
that word,
Yes.
let me, well, hold on, let me call my attorney, is
Mm-hmm.
very, 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 very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just glad that we were able to have Regina on. I'm glad that people are able to get this information and use it for their benefit.
I,
Yes.
I couldn't agree. I could not agree with you more than that, sis. So before
Yes.
we close out, you know, I also want to take another second to uh, talk about a couple of our newest sponsors with DJ Coco Brown and Bubbles and Brews Philly. Again, as always, Two Mics Up is all about supporting small businesses. You know, DJ Coco Brown, aka or also known as Chanel Brown, is an experienced DJ providing both mobile and virtual musical services. Uh, Chanel is based out of the Delaware, Philadelphia area, but she does travel. For those of you who don't know, she's been down here to the DMV several times. You know, rocked a couple of parties for us here in the DMV. You know, could contact DJ Coco Brown at chanel.brown@gmail.com. Bubbles and Bruce Philly, they've also been on a Two Mics Up podcast. You definitely want to check that episode out. You know, this is a vintage mobile prosecco and craft beer bar, something I've never seen, and it's it's amazing. It's phenomenal. You know, they're based out of Philly, and just contact Bubbles and Bruce Philly at philly@getcozy.com. Yo, they're amazing. I also want to take a second to thank our marketing and branding team, 94 Media House, who does all of Two Mics Up branding and marketing. We also have a brand new shop online, www.twomicsup.com/shop. Get yourself some Two Mics Up paraphernalia. Follow Two Mics Up online. Follow us across social media, IG, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. If you're watching today's episode, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, and while you're at it, tell some family and friends. Two mics up. Every Monday, brand new episode. Every Thursday with the live. Catch Lisa and I cutting up, acting a fool, and pray for Dame on Thursdays because usually Dame does some real effed up something at least once throughout the podcast or throughout the show. But like we always do, thank you all for joining us. Hope you have a great day and a better week ahead. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed. Mike's out.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.